and welcome to the 2018 Lake Wildwood Car Show. It's about an hour before we start, but we got lots of cool cars here. We've been driving up and more keep coming. So enjoy the show. Hello, I'm here at the Lake Wildwood Car Show, and I'm talking to Jim Carius, and he's been gracious enough to bring a whole flock of mini quarter midget race cars that children drive. I was told they can start at 4.
They can start training at 4.5. Cars are driven by kids between the actual competition is between 5 and 16 years old. They're all driven by a single-cylinder 4-cycle motor. They're basically a miniature sprint car. Everything you'd see at sprint car races is on these cars, just shrunk way down. The tracks are 1/20 of a mile long. There's both asphalt and dirt tracks, and we're lucky enough to have both here in the local area. My kid's been racing for 2.5 years now, and then I have a 6-year-old who's actually training now. So,
now is this an expensive hobby?
you know, well, racing is never cheap, but the entry-level cost for a starter car is somewhere around $1,500. The first year is actually relatively inexpensive because you can use used tires and all that stuff, so it's not terribly expensive. The upper levels, a brand new car will cost $5,000 or so, and we'll spend $400 or $500 a race. So as racing goes, very inexpensive. And truthfully, compared to a lot of other youth sports, by the time you figure pads and practices and travel and all that stuff, it's actually pretty competitive with other youth sports.
Very competitive. Okay, now we have in Nevada County, we have a young man that started out racing like this, and now he's Indy 500 champion.
That's
just finished
correct.
in second place in the Indy Car Series, and he's even been a reserve driver in Formula One. Alexander Rossi. So, do we see any future Alexander Rossi's growing up in this place?
Well, you know, not my crew, but we do have some potential championship racers. We have a couple of kids that are very fast. We have a kid that has set track records at some of the larger sprint car tracks. He's 11 years old.
Great.
So
great. Now, can we bring your son in here for a minute?
You do.
Can you tell me what do you enjoy most about racing?
The speed.
Going fast?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, most racers, and when I lived in San Jose, I had two neighbors that were both racers, and they said that speed is almost like a drug. Once you start going fast, you want to keep going faster and faster. So how do you like driving? Is it fun?
Yeah, really fun.
Now, how long until you get old enough to drive a car on the road?
Well, there's Puerto Ricans all over. Yeah. So
How old are you now?
where do you live?
9.5.
And you have to be 16, so how many years is that?
Show down there. It's fairly famous.
Hi, Dad.
About 6.5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, works out, eh?
They're teaching Common Core math now. So.
Yeah, you got to figure it all out. So, I'm glad your dad was able to bring all these cars. I'm glad you get to have some fun with them too, eh? Now be sure to walk around the car show, because there's some great cars. There's some race cars out there. There's a little Austin Healey Sprite race car. His name is Don Queen. Ask Don about racing that. And then there's the drag race car out there. You might want to ask him about that, because that's a really fast car. Anyway, lots of cars here at the Lake Wildwood Car Show for all ages. So enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, here I am at the car show, and I'm with Vince Metasio and Elmer Fairbanks. Vince has got this wonderful 1937 Buick. He's one of the few people who've been in every car show, I believe, since the start.
That's right.
And he's got this gorgeous car. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it's a car that I wanted for a long time. It's something that looked original and from the 1930s, but has all modern running gear, a big V8 engine in it, and drivable. I could drive it anywhere.
So it's officially called a resto mod,
That's right.
because it's been restored, but it's been modified.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I changed the mod to rod because it's a big bore engine in there, and it should go fast.
Okay.
I don't drive it fast, but it should go fast.
Now, Elmer, you have a car here too, right?
Yeah, I've got my Alante, which is a Cadillac convertible, one of the last of the Cadillac convertibles with the big engine in it, the North Star engine. But I was admiring Vince's car again. I was just telling him about the 1938 convertible Buick that I was going to buy one time, but my father wouldn't let me because he didn't want me on his insurance. So he said, that's not a safe car. It doesn't have a top on it. So that was the end of my convertible at that time.
It shows things don't change over the years, right? Get the same thing with your parents now. You're not buying that car because I'm not putting it on my insurance. And you know what? That's one of the wonderful things about our Lake Wildwood Car Show is we have all types of cars. This is not a concourse event. It doesn't have to be perfect, even though we do have some cars that are very, very close to perfect. It doesn't have to be American. It doesn't have to be foreign. It can be any car that you love and you just want to show. So we've got a lot of great cars here. If you don't make it to this year's car show, be sure to come down to next. And if you have a car in the garage you just love, bring it next year. All right, we'll be moving on. right, I'm here with Richard Burnell, and Richard's car actually won the Best of Show last year, the People's Choice Best of Show. And his car has a really interesting history, and I'll give you part of it and I'll let him give you the rest. But I was walking by his house, what was it, 3 years ago now?
About 3 years.
3 years ago.
Yep.
And I saw his car in the garage, and there was parts all over the floor, and it obviously needed a paint job. And I said, you need to put that car together and get it in my car show. He's going, oh, it's got so much work to do. I just don't know when. And your son, Alex? Albert,
my son.
His son, Albert, took the project on as his senior project for NU. And between the dad and you had a cousin or a distant cousin
yep.
in Stockton.
In Salinas.
Salinas, that did the paint?
Yep. Hank Marcus out of Salinas did the paint for us. He did a 2-week turnaround time on it, which was very surprising. A paint job like this usually takes a few months.
So what it turned out to be was a family affair. The son took it over, cousin helped paint it, everyone else in the family got involved, and you were at one car show, right? And then the next year you won the Curtis Langston Memorial People's Choice Best of Show Award.
Correct.
So that shows all it takes is a little elbow grease from the whole family, and you end up with this beautiful example of a bow tie, a 64 Impala. And I think he should drive around all the time with lowrider going on in a stereo system.
Yes. Any chance I can get out in the car, I'll do it. It's a good feeling. It's been in the family for probably about good 30 years now, because I bought it off my cousin back in 96, 95, and it's just been, my wife and my kids have been a huge help putting this car together. I couldn't ask for anything better. It's my dream car, and just here to have fun, just to show it off and just to be a part of the cars.
So I got 2 songs now for him. Lowrider and It's a Family Affair.
There you go.
And that's how we do things here in Lake Wildwood. See you in a bit. It's been a great day, a wonderful show. I know it's a little windy and chilly today, but much better than being hot. So I'm glad you could join us for the 2018 Lake Wildwood Car Show. Have a great day.